what's going on? What's going on? I'm all stuttering and shit. It's your boy Tunnel Vision, and we back on another one. That boy Garry Russell talking that shit. He talking that shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about how he wants Santa Cruz and how, quote, you know, Al Heyman can't make them fight. Al Heyman can't make him fight. Al Heyman can't make Tank fight. But that he wants Al Heyman to show that he's, you know, that he's doing something, making some kind of push in order to make that fight happen. Which is weird due to the fact that Garry Russell is not a PBC fighter. He's not an Al Heyman advised fighter. He works with them. His brothers are signed to PBC. His brothers signed his brothers are signed to Al Heyman, but he's not. A lot of people don't know that. They just happen to work with each other once a year. And one of the things he said, that he talked to Eddie Hearn, and that Eddie Hearn was talking about how he's a great fighter, and about how, you know, that PBC or that side that he's working with doesn't want him to be a star, which is, it's like, okay, you know. And he said, he had to take heed to that, as if, like, you know, saying that he was listening to that. He had to listen to the man when it came to that. You know, that's weird, just due to the fact that, number one, you only fight once a year, period. And when you do fight once a year, PBC is giving you the most money. That's why you keep working with them, because he does go around trying to get bigger deals, but PBC always gives him the biggest deal. You know, offering him what? When he fought Diaz, he was offered $2 million. And then on top of that, off the gate, he made $1.2 million. He made like over $3 million for that one fight alone. He disappears after a year. Doesn't talk, doesn't do interviews, nothing. He's just gone until his next fight gets announced. Then he starts talking again, mentioning different fighters again. But during the year, though, he doesn't promote himself at all. That's why you're not a star, because you don't put in the work. You see Earl Spence in all these shows. You see Earl Spence doing all kinds of interviews, you know, pushing the issue, besides him fighting and staying active and actually fighting twice, if he can, a year. That's why Earl Spence is in the space that he's in right now. Deontay Wilder, same thing. This is the baddest man on the planet. Okay, just made 20 plus. Made 20 facing Dominic Brazil. You see him all over the place. You see him doing interviews all over the place. The Boxing Voice, 78 Sports, you know, Trill Boxing, and all these other platforms. He'll do it. Blue Blood Sports, Barbershop Conversations. He's all over the place talking to the media that has the ear to the fans. He's talking to all of them. That's why he's been able to get himself into the space that he's in right now. They put in work. Garry Russell does not put in work at all. None. That's why you're not a star. That's why you're not putting the pressure on these guys to the point where they'll fight you. You know, when it came to Tank, now you're talking about how he wants to fight Tank, and you'll fight Tank in a catch weight. He doesn't have a belt up there yet. I'll fight him at 132 pounds, blah, blah, blah. Which, again, makes no sense to me due to the fact that before you were saying you wanted to fight him, but you said what you're going to do is you're going to move up to 130 pounds. You're going to drop your belt and become the mandatory for the WBC belt, because I guess it's some way you can do it when you're the champion at 126. Have them order that fight right away so you can take on that man right away and get that 130-pound belt. And then after that, you're going to call out, you know, you're going to go after Gervonta Tank Davis. Now he's talking these weird things about, as if he wants to fight him right away at 132 pounds. Which, again, you have to kind of think, like, what's he talking about? It's not really aligning with what you were saying before. And then he was asked about taking on Tevin Farmer. Like, so, you know, how about Tevin Farmer? He's a champion. You know, why don't you take what do you think about taking him on? And this is when I knew something was up. And this is when I said, you know what? This dude might just be clout chasing. And what he said was that he didn't see that he's not ducking a Tevin Farmer, you know, because he's about that life. But that financially it wouldn't make sense to fight Tevin Farmer. What? So it made financial sense to fight Diaz. It made financial sense to fight whatever bum he just faced last. and all these low tier competition fighters he's been facing. But it doesn't make financial sense to take on a champion at 130 pounds, where you could actually have a strap at that higher weight class. You know what I'm saying? Even have a unification if you're able to get the WBC belt at 130, and then be in a space where you can actually do a unification with Tevin Farmer, or even bring more clout to you and put more pressure on Tank, put into a space where people really start calling for that fight because of what the work that you're putting in against that heavy competition. But he said he wouldn't face him. As soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, this dude just clout chasing, man. He's just clout chasing. And the thing is, he has no bout set up right now. You never hear from Garry Russell unless he has a bout set up. And I mean never. Never, unless one of his brothers are sometimes fighting me, might hear about him. For him to be talking all that crap he's doing, for him to maybe making all these interviews all of a sudden, it looks kind of like what Tevin Farmer was doing right before he signed with DAZN. And it kind of looks familiar like what Demetrius Andrade was doing right before he signed with DAZN. So, my personal opinion is that Garry Russell might be signing a deal with DAZN. And that's what this is all about. And he might just be, I think it's just clout chasing. If it wasn't just clout chasing when it came to the Tank thing, he would have went on, moved up, and went after that 130, WBC strap, like he said he was going to do. He's not doing that. Not to mention, he was talking about how he wanted to fight Lomachenko before again. He wanted that rematch. He stopped talking about him. I remember it was after one of his fights. The commentator said, "So you want him next? You want him next? You want Lomachenko next? Nah. I want him at the end of my career. But before my career is over, I gotta see that man." What? Huh? And Lomachenko's at 130, and he might be coming down to he's at 135, and they're talking about him coming back down to 130. So even in that situation, if you can get that 130 WCB belt, and then take on a Tevin Farmer and grab that unification real quick and have both those belts, and then depending on who ends up getting that WBA championship that Tank dropped, where you could end up having 2-3 belts, but Tevin Farmer fighting him doesn't make no sense to you. And this is why you are where you are, and this is why you're not a star. But me personally, the way he's talking, I believe he wants to fight Santa Cruz, though. I do believe he wants to fight Santa Cruz. But the way he was talking previously, I'll fight Tank, but first I need to go get that WBC strap. I'll fight Lomachenko, but I need it at the end of my career. I don't know, man. So, look for that announcement of Garry Russell siding to DAZN real soon. Unless he doesn't get that shit, because DAZN said they ain't paying dudes no money that ain't bringing in bringing in those numbers. And for a man that only fights once a year, doesn't really talk, he ain't gonna be bringing in no numbers at all. So hey, maybe he's not going there. But we shall see. Like, subscribe, see you on the next one.